Hello everybody, welcome back to Rambling Runoff. I am your host, Robert Rios. Yes, we are here today with another great episode for everybody listening in their cars, in their house, on their phone, their Alexas, whatever you got. Hey, even your Google machines, whatever you got. Thank you for listening. Once again, we got great sports news for you guys to hear and listen to today. It should be a doozy, as for today I will be riding solo dolo, so this should be really fun and exciting, especially because you get to just hear my voice for the next hour or so. So I hope you guys are buckled up and ready to hear me. But yes, on tap for today's show, we got the NFL playoffs, which I apologize, didn't have an episode last week. I was feeling under the weather, so sorry if I come in and out here and there because my voice is still recovering. On tap for the show today, we got the NFL playoffs with the divisional round that just wrapped up, and we'll be looking forward to the NFC and AFC Championship game started this weekend. We also have some MLB check-in update is what I'm calling it, because I'm just going to be going in and out of who's on the move, who's kind of come back, some new signings in the MLB this far right before the spring season. And in the warm-up, we have the US men's national team lineup and friendlies that are scheduled for this week as of this recording. And I'm just going to be going over who's on the roster and, well, who's new and who's old. And then we got a bunch of stuff in the rundown. So stick around to the end because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. So yeah, as always, even though it's just by myself, I just want to give a quick, I don't know. I feel like we should give this a segment, but I haven't decided yet where it's just us talking. But I mean, it's just by myself, so I guess I'm just going to talk about what's been going on with myself lately. I was a little under the weather last week, which is why we didn't have a recording. But I'm back and feeling a little bit better, so it's all good in the hood. Thank you to whoever said get better. Thank you so much. Other than that, I almost forgot. I don't know if anybody does recall. I mentioned in the last episode that I don't really watch hockey, and then literally after that recording, I was bestowed the opportunity to go see a hockey game. So I went to go see the LA Kings play the San Jose Sharks, in which the Kings were victorious. And yeah, it was really cool. I've never been to a hockey game, so I got to, I've never seen it in the ice before, so that was interesting. What was also more interesting is that it's not 2 halves or 4 quarters. It's 3 periods, and in those 3 periods, it's 20 minutes apiece. So, and after those 20 minutes each period, there's like an 18-minute period break, I guess you could say. So yeah, that was interesting to see. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to going to more Kings games soon. But enough of that. Let's get this potty waddy started. How about that, everybody? So yeah, first on tap, we have the NFL Divisional Round and Conference Playoffs. So I hope you guys love some pigskins. We're going to talk some football again. In the Divisional Round, we had the Jaguars and the Chiefs, with the Jags going to KC, in which the Chiefs were victorious 27-20. Mahomes finished with 195 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, in which the second capping a 75-yard drive late in the fourth quarter and lifted the Kansas City Chiefs to a 27-20 victory over the Jags and a spot in their 5th straight AFC Championship game. Mahomes did get hurt in this game, and to my knowledge and what I wrote down and what I saw through news sources was that he had a plead with Coach Andy Reid to let him stay in the game. I would say that Mahomes is basically the heart and soul of this team. Without him, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be in this position the past 5 years that they've been in the AFC Championship game. So without him, they're gonna go nowhere. But I think he should be ready to go play. On the other hand, we had the Jags, who the week before rallied from a 27-0 deficit to beat the LA Chargers in the wild card round. I would say they squandered 2 chances, to mount another good rally. The first time ended with Jamal Agnew as he had the ball pop out of him inside the Chiefs 5 with about 5.5 minutes to go. And then the second when Jalen Watson made a leaping one-handed interception, near midfield. And those turnovers eventually just hurt the team. And then to top it all off, the Jags' last chance gasp at, it basically ended when Kansas City recovered an onside kick with about 24 seconds to go in the game. And I mean, it was close, 27-20, but no dice for the Jags on this day. For the other quarterback for the Jags, in regards to Mahomes, the other quarterback on the other side, Trevor Lawrence, finished with 217 yards passing with a touchdown toss to Christian Kirk, who was briefly hurt midway through the fourth quarter, and he returned to finish in the game. Other than that, he had Travis Etienne added with a 62-yard rushing and a touchdown. So I didn't get to say it because obviously there was no episode. I had the Chiefs winning this game. I didn't see the Jags being able to win this game at all. The Chiefs are really good offense and defensively. It was a little bit funny to see. Everyone said that Trevor Lawrence has never lost a Saturday matchup, which is true because most of his games were on Saturday when he was in college. So it would have been interesting if he kept his streak going, but now he's lost a game on a Saturday. So yeah, there goes his undefeated streak. For Mahomes, hopefully he is good to play his next matchup in the AFC Championship game. I think it would really hurt the team. You're losing a lot of athleticism. You're losing a lot of that quick thinking that he always delivers, on the spot. So I think, they're going to have to need him. They're going to need him for this game. Next up, we also had the number 6 Giants versus the number 1 Eagles. Giants and Eagles, longtime rivals. This was the opposite of that. Opposite of a good rivalry game. The Eagles squashed them 38-7. It was over within the first couple of drives with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts threw for 2 touchdown passes and ran for a score during a dominant first half. Philadelphia's their offensive line opened up big holes for Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell as the Eagles finished with 268 yards on the ground. Hurts himself finished 16 of 24 with a total of 154 yards. Hurts also became the second Eagles player with 2 pass touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown in a playoff game, joining only Donovan McNabb on that exclusive list. The Eagles are headed to their 7th NFC Championship game since the start of the 2001 season and their 2nd in 5 years, which, by the way, in that first time, they won the Super Bowl against the Patriots. The Giants, on the other hand, they gave up the ball too easily, and they just showed no urgency throughout the whole game. And it doesn't help that you give up 2 scores and you go down 14-0. The defense played soft and conservative for the second straight week, and this time they weren't playing the Vikings. So with the Eagles defense, they refused to let up on the ground. I was about to say the Vikings. The Giants, could not run the ball at all. It didn't help that Daniel Jones had pressure, had no time in the pocket, no clean pockets or even open receivers, and he was forced to throw the ball a lot of times. So that's what sealed the 2-score deficit early with the Eagles and the Giants. So the Eagles, like I say, have been the best team this season, so I hope they sealed the deal. And then the next day, Sunday, January 22nd, we had the number 3 Bengals at the number 2 Bills, in which we had Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen. The Bengals on the road in the snow in Buffalo won 27-10, surprisingly, in my opinion. Well, not that I didn't think the Bengals were going to win, but I think it was closer than what most people thought. Burrow threw 2 touchdown passes, and Cincinnati's defense warmed Josh Allen on a snow-slickened field, to seal the deal. And now the Bengals are off to the AFC Championship game for the 2nd straight year. Burrow completed his first 9 passes for 105 yards as Cincinnati raced to a 14-zip lead. That always helps. after the first two possessions. I may add, Jamar Chase opened the scoring with a 28-yard TD catch with about 3:20 left in the game, followed by a Burrow 15-yard TD throw to Hayden Hurst. 8 minutes later, Joe Mixon scored on a 1-yard run, and Evan McPherson made field goals from 20 and 28 yards in a game that the Bengals never trailed, by the way. For Buffalo, who lost a home playoff game for only the second time since the 1970 merger, failed to play complimentary football, in my opinion. Cincinnati's 2 early touchdowns, for example, were sandwiched in between a Buffalo 3-and-out when the Bills' defense would have benefited by having more time off the field. So yeah, I would just say Josh Allen had an off day, in my opinion. The Bills' defense, with some injuries and let up, which to my knowledge, even on their not best day, they're still pretty decent. But when you have Joe Burrow at the helm and he has a bunch of offensive weapons on his side, it could be hard to handle. So yeah, you have the Bengals going to the AFC Championship game. Up next, what do we got? Oh no, excuse me, I had another game. We're good. And then I'll say it like this: to end Divisional Round weekend, we had the number 5 Cowboys at the number 2 San Francisco 49ers. This was probably the most interesting game out of everything that happened, with the 49ers defeating the Cowboys 19-12. It was a close one throughout the matchup, in which it was tied for a bit, and then the 49ers finally broke through towards the end, getting their lead now, which was the final score. But I'm pretty sure everyone would like to talk about the ending, which we'll get to. But let's just get through the details really quick. The Dallas Cowboys season, came to a close on Sunday night. The loss has made it their 12th consecutive playoff berth without making it to the conference title game. It's the longest streak since the NFL AFL merger. They've now gone 27 years since making it to the NFC Championship, a streak exceeding only by the Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions, and their divisional rival, the Washington Commanders. For their quarterback, Dak Prescott, he had 81 passing yards and a touchdown on 12 of 16 completions. So they're running the ball a lot as well. This was all his 12 of 16 were in the first half up against San Fran, whose defense who had been suffocating so far in the contest. Just when it looked like Prescott had gotten it together after his performance in the Tampa Bay game, the 49ers made everyone remember how careless he could be with the ball. And in the regular season, Prescott threw 15 interceptions despite playing in just 12 games. So yeah, Prescott, I think he could use his feet, and he does have a good arm. I think sometimes though, he forgets, and he just starts slinging it everywhere, kind of like old Brett Favre, how he used to do things. So it was a little unsettling. On the other side, we have Brock Purdy, who did a good job. He did his best against the Cowboys defense, who was also unrelentless, in my opinion. And, that's what kept it close up until the ending, when it feels like Groundhog Day. Like, I feel like I've seen this before, where the Cowboys have the ball towards the end of the game, and they have terrible time management, play management, player management. It's like a combination of everything that could go wrong does go wrong. So I'm pretty sure like most of you guys saw this game, and just like last year, they squandered their chance to try to win the game. They had about 3-4 minutes left. They pumped the ball away, and San Fran kind of pins them down with only about under a minute or so of the game. Cowboys kind of move the ball, and then Dak makes a good throw. You think, oh, they got a closer shot for a Hail Murray. I think there's about 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock. I forgot who it was, but they make a catch towards the sideline. But in doing so, the receiver gets 1 foot down, and I think he thought he was in all the way, so went out of bounds with the ball, technically speaking, and he went in a review, and the Cowboys thought they were really closer that they should have been, but they weren't. And then from there, they're probably like at their own 30-yard line, and they got mostly skilled players out on the field, which is good. But it was interesting. All you had was Ezekiel Elliott snapping the ball. He snaps the ball, and he gets floored immediately. And I think the Cowboys were hoping that wouldn't happen, but he gets floored. Then Dak throws it to his receiver, and he immediately, right when he gets the ball, gets flat and pancaked to the ground. And unfortunately, that's the way the game ended. That was the end of the Cowboys season. So it is what it is. The Cowboys, once again, squandered a chance. I'm bringing this up because if you're a avid NFL watcher, if you remember last season, they did a questionable play, or it was not questionable. It was like damn it, how am I supposed to explain this? They didn't know the rules of the game, apparently. Like, they totally forgot how everything works. Last season, when they were at home against the Niners, Dak ran the ball down the field, got the first down with like 10 seconds left, and then they all tried lining up to either snap the ball or spike it, and then the referee kind of got in the way. But of course, the referee was just doing his job. And then I remember after the game, everyone was blaming the referee, like, oh, the referee got in the way. Like, no, what it is, before every snap, the referee has to officially put the ball in play and touch it. Like, they lined up the ball correctly, but the referee never touched it. So by the time the ref touched it and the players were in the way, the time expired, and that's how they lost the game then. So now, a year later, they screwed the pooch again. So it's like, oh my goodness. Like, why? How is that even possible? But it is what it is. The Cowboys end up going down. I mean, for a second, I thought the Cowboys, had a really good chance. And, I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, it does kind of change it up a bit where I honestly thought the Cowboys for a second had me thinking they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. I kid you not. I was like, dang, maybe they could beat the Eagles. But of course, the Cowboys went to Cowboys, and yeah, that was the end of it. Now you got Brock Purdy going up against Jalen Hurts in the NFC Championship game. And with that, I think we should move on now to said championship game, in which, we have the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship. We have the number 2 San Francisco 49ers at the number 1 Philadelphia Eagles. You got the two best teams in the NFC final. The NFL has the two best teams in the NFC all season long for the right to go to the Super Bowl. And in the AFC, you have a rematch of last year's title game between the two of the conference's best quarterbacks as a nightcap. To watch San Francisco versus the Niners. Alright, the hell am I talking about? To watch San Francisco play Philadelphia, you can watch them on Sunday, January 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox. If you're desperate, you can watch them on Fubo TV. The 49ers and the Eagles, they don't have a rich playoff history, with the Eagles and the Niners meeting only one time in the postseason, with the Niners win 14-0 in 1996 in the NFC wildcard game. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, both of the starting quarterbacks in the game, weren't even born yet. Hurts, who's 24, and Purdy, who's 23, they will both be the youngest matchup. This will line up to be the youngest matchup in NFC Championship game history. For the Niners, they are playing in their 18th consecutive championship game, the most in NFL history, and third in the last 4 years. They are the only NFC team never to play in Philadelphia in a playoff game on the road. Well, obviously. For the Eagles, this is the Eagles' 7th conference championship game appearance since the year 2000, the most in the NFC, and trailing only the New England Patriots for the most in the NFL. The Eagles are searching for their 4th Super Bowl appearance in franchise history and 2nd in the last 6 seasons. So yeah, we should have a good matchup. I want to see the Eagles defense try to shut down Brock Purdy. That'd be really good to see. I mean, you got Deebo Samuel, who runs around like a madman all the time, and you got Christian McCaffrey, who just runs and guns the ball like nothing, ground and pound all day. So I want to see how they can handle the Niners offense. So that's what I see. I don't really like giving score predictions because they're super duper hard, especially in football, because there's never really upsets and these games are always down to the wire. So yeah, that's just that's just my take on it. But I think if I were to pick the winning team for this game, and I know I've already kind of hyped them up a bit, I think the 49ers, no, excuse me, gosh damn it, you see, this is very hard for me to do this by myself. But anyways, alright, I have the 49ers losing to the potential NFL champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to do it. I think the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl. So that's who I have winning this whole damn shebang-a-bang. And the other championship game, we have the number 4 Cincinnati Bengals at the number 1 Kansas City Chiefs. You can watch this game Sunday, January 29th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it on CBS, and you can also stream it on Paramount Plus. This will be a rematch of last year's AFC title game with the Chiefs and the Bengals, and it's already worth the hype in my opinion. Just add Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow to the mix, and NFL fans could be, set to see another classic on the field, especially with Mahomes possibly playing with a high sprained ankle. That should be interesting. With the Chiefs are looking to become just the 9th team to reach the Super Bowl 3 times in a 4-year span. So, kind of like the Los Angeles Dodgers syndrome, they've probably been the best team the past couple of years. They might not go or win the Super Bowl all the time, but they have been one of the more consistent teams that you always have to look out and watch for. So there you go, take it as you will. For the Bengals, they are seeking to reach the Super Bowl in consecutive seasons, trying to become the first team since the seeding began in 1975 to reach back-to-back Super Bowls without having a top 2 seed in either season. Cincinnati has never lost an AFC Championship game, going 3-0 in franchise history. Alright, so this one's a little bit of a toughie. So, Kansas City's won, Cincinnati, as I mentioned, not the number 2 seed, come in as the 4. I wouldn't say that the Bengals were as dominant as they were last season, but I think they're equally how do I explain this? They're a slight, like a tad bit behind where they were last year, but I think they can still do it. So my pick to win this game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs is Cincinnati. Oh my goodness. I think the Bengals are going to make it again. If they're 3-0, I think it's just because all those times they went to the championship games, it's just because they knew how to win. They knew how to organize themselves well. So yeah, I think they could pull it off. I don't see why not. If you're listening to this, comment somewhere, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Or not the Super Bowl, but yeah, see, I'm still out of it. It's hard to do this by myself. But anyways, comment who do you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl? And then once we get to the Super Bowl, tell me who's going to win the Super Bowl, because I really do want to know. I've already kind of said who my pick is for the big one, but yeah, before we get there, we got these 2 championship games that we got to go through. So yeah, I have the Eagles representing the NFC, and I have the Bengals representing the AFC. So yeah, those are my 2 picks, and who are going to win their respective championship games this upcoming weekend. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Hopefully by the next episode that I do, we do have a co-host of anybody, and see what their take is. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear me repeat everything all over again. So yeah, that was your NFL Divisional Round wrap up with a little bit of a preview of the conference championship game. So yeah, we're going to move on now to some MLB talk. It's not going to be anything, I would say, not into too detail. I've been here and there with the MLB updates. We already had the winter meetings, so yeah, there's been a lot of movement since then. I'll just be kind of going over who's gone where, and if anybody's moved around anywhere specifically, and I guess kind of giving my opinions on some of the players. But yeah, I guess starting us off with our MLB offseason moves, we got the Pirates with Carlos Santana reportedly agreeing to a 1-year deal. Santana, who is 36 years old, finished with the league average OPS last year, hitting .202, 316, and 376 between stints with the Seattle Mariners and the Kansas City Royals. But his expected numbers based on how hard he hit the ball, and 81st percentile exit velocity, and his elite walk rate, which is 97th percentile, is projected far better results, something that drove his market pretty high. Santana is entering his 14th season and has a career line of 2.42, 0.352, and .432 with 278 home runs and 925 RBIs. So that makes him a very hot commodity now these days. Moving on now, the Houston Astros and free agent first baseman Jose Abreu reportedly agreed to a 3-year contract. Bob Nightingale of the USA Today first reported this deal, while Chandler Rome of the Houston Chronicle reported the contract will be worth around $60 million when finalized. Abreu, who is 35 years old, spent his first 9 MLB seasons with the Chicago White Sox. He hit .304, .378, and .446 with 15 home runs and 75 runs batted in while appearing in 157 games last season. Moving on, we got the Rays, Zach Eflin. He reportedly agreed to a 3-year deal. The Rays signed Zach Handler. Oh my gosh, I am out of it still. The Rays signed the right-hander Eflin to a 3-year deal, $40 million contract, the first notable strike on the free agent pitching market at the time. Earlier on this year, it surpasses the 5-year, $35 million contract signed by Wilson Alvarez in 1997 as the largest guaranteed contract for free agent in franchise history. The largest average annual value given to a free agent by the Rays remains $15 million, which Charlie Morton earned during a 2-year deal in 2019 and 2020. Speaking of pitchers, another notable guy that was on the move who has been, first started out in Detroit, moved to Houston, won some championship rings, Mr. Justin Verlander. With the Mets, they have reportedly agreed to a 2-year deal with a vesting option for 2025. The 3-time Cy Young winner and 2-time World Series champion agreed to a 2-year deal, $86 million, with the New York Mets. He missed the entire 2021 season recovering from Tommy John surgery, but returned in peak form, recording a career-low ERA of 1.75 and 185 strikeouts through 28 games. Not too shabby. Verlander became the 4th oldest player to win a Cy Young award this past season at the bright old age of 39. As I mentioned before, Verlander's moved around a bit. Moving to New York, they're on the up and coming, so I think he should do pretty good there. He's been pretty consistent, always been consistent, and yeah, I would expect nevertheless. Speaking of the New York Mets, you lost one head. No, excuse me, you gained one, you lost another, or in reverse, vice versa. Jacob deGrom, who's been in the Mets for a while, was picked up by the Rangers. I guess you could say a huge rotation splash. They agreed to a 5-year contract. It is reported to be $185 million guaranteed, and the deal also includes a full no-trade clause. Ain't that some shit? The move comes on the heels of the Mets losing another Cy Young winner. So, he is the Cy Young winner. And what I mean to say is, as they gave him up while they got Verlander, like, right off the bat. After nearly a decade with the franchise, DeGrom is headed to Texas. The Mets were bounced by the Padres in the wild card round recently. and they got there by winning 101 games this past season. And that's the second most in franchise history. So maybe now, although they lost DeGrom, was Verlander, he could get them over the hump and, not go out like in such a hurry. Because what I got here? Yeah, the Padres eliminated them 2-1 in the wild card round. Speaking of the Padres, their rival up the freeway, 3-hour drive, lost one of their assets, the Los Angeles Dodgers, was Trey Turner. The Phillies reportedly agreed to an 11-year deal. Dude, these contracts are just insane. 11 years. Turner reportedly, will be there for 11 years and could be worth $300 million with a full no trade clause as well. Turner is a Silver Slugger, or was a Silver Slugger in 2022. He finished his past season with .28, .343, and .466 batting line, while totaling 21 home runs and 100 RBIs for the Los Angeles Dodgers. After a strong year-plus stint with LA, the two-time All-Star returns to the familiarity of the NL East. Turner, who is now the age of 29, spent the first 7+ seasons of his career with the Washington Nationals, with whom he won a World Series in 2019 and played alongside new Phillies teammate Bryce Harper for 4 years. The duo will have the better part of a decade to unite on a fall classic return. Josh Bell reportedly agreed a deal with the Cleveland Guardians, a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 2023. The terms of the deal were not totally announced, but a source told the MLB.com that it could be worth $33 million, and it also includes an opt-out clause after 2023. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. I sometimes purposely double note everything just in case I skip anything, and if it sounds better, I write it down again. Across 7 seasons in the big leagues, the 30-year-old Bell has amassed 130 homers and a .262, .351, and a .459 career lash line. His best season came with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2019 when he reached his lone All-Star game. But Bell was excellent with Washington in 2021 and 2022 as well. Going back to Los Angeles was the Dodgers, a guy that I did not expect to leave anytime soon, as he's still kind of young and I felt like he had a lot to offer. Mr. Cody Bellinger also is leaving, or did leave, the boys in blue. He is now a Chicago Cub. He reportedly agreed to a 1-year deal. While the Dodgers did have interest in re-signing him, Bellinger ultimately joined the Chicago Cubs on a 1-year deal. The signing was finalized and is reportedly a $12.5 million base salary for next season, or this coming up season, and a mutual option for 2024. Bellinger's first 3 seasons with the Dodgers were successful, as he earned National League Rookie of the Year honors in 2017, 2 All-Star Game appearances, the 2019 NL MVP award, dude, he was really good that year, a Gold Glove, and a Silver Slugger. However, Bellinger went on to hit .203, .272, and .376 with 46 doubles, 41 home runs, and 134 RBIs in 295 games over the ensuing 3 seasons. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, as he exits, he believes, and this is true in like a lot of sports as well. He believes, maybe a change of scenery could help him bring back his numbers and, get him back on track, which is true for a lot of people. I've seen it happens all the time in sports. You could go somewhere and be like, have a new leash on life. Moving on again, not a move, but a re-signing, a little bit different. And this was probably the biggest one that happened, because I remember I was on my way to work when this happened. It was like at 6, 7, maybe even 8 in the morning, whatever it was, my local time. Aaron Judge. The Yankees reportedly re-signed him to a 9-year deal. He was the 2022 AL MVP, and they didn't officially confirm the terms of the contract, but sources told the MLB that it could be worth up to $360 million. That is a lot of money. That number makes it the largest contract awarded to a free agent in Major League history, surpassing Bryce Harper's 13-year, $330 million deal with the Phillies in 2019. the Yankees reportedly beat out bids from the San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres to bring back the superstar slugger. Yeah, I think for like a split second, everyone thought that he wasn't going to go with the Giants, which I think is true. I wouldn't be surprised if at the last second he had a change of heart and a change of mind. I don't know. I guess the Yankees pulled out their Joker card, and that's what brought him back to the Yankees. Sorry for my bad imitation of the guy, but yeah, that's where the cookie crumbled down there in the Bronx. Not a re-sign, not a move. Well, not a on the move type of move. A new signing, a new face to the MLB, and I wanted to include this because although his info is limited, in my opinion, or why I've been trying to look for him, he's been a hot commodity, and Mr. and I'm gonna probably butcher his name, but Mr. Masataka Yoshida was signed by the Boston Red Sox, agreeing to a deal. He agreed to a 5-year, $90 million deal. He hit 335 with 21 home runs and 88 RBIs in 119 games this season in Japan, while having a PL leading on-base percentage of .447 and striking out just 41 times. Yes, he is from Japan, everybody. Yoshida also played for Japan at last year's Tokyo Olympic baseball tournament, contributing to the host nation's gold-winning campaign. He has a .327 career batting average with 133 homers, 467 RBIs over 7 seasons. So I included this because, I mean, whenever they sign, I guess you say a big-name Japanese star like Mr. Shohei Ohtani, you, of course, gotta, put your eyeballs to see, like, all right, where is this going to go? Is he going to be like a hit? Is he going to be a dud? So you never know. So, I mean, he's going with the Red Sox who struggled last season, but you expect them to be good this year. So whenever they go down, they always come back up. So hopefully he could bring them back on the ups. And once again, we got to go back to LA. I feel like the Dodgers have just kind of relinquished a lot of players recently. So it's kind of odd. I feel like they gave up a lot of assets as well, in my opinion. But Mr. Justin Turner, he is also on the move. Where he is, I think he's in for a 1-year deal, what I got here, and includes a player option for 2024. Turner began the 2022 season very slowly, batting just .168, .226, and .242, with 1 home run through his first 26 games in the season. While that performance raised questions about whether the veteran was experiencing a steep decline at the bright old age of 37, he quickly turned things around. Overall, his final 102 games, beginning May 10th, Turner slashed in a resounding number of .306, .380, .488 with 12 homers, 32 doubles, and 68 RBIs. That .868 OPS ranked 13th amongst the majors, major league qualifiers over the span, putting Turner just behind Austin Riley and Pete Alonso, and ahead of Carlos Correa and Nolan Arenado. Nevertheless, the Dodgers declined Turner's $16 million club option for 2023. That's a bummer. Instead, paying him a $2 million buyout. So they bought out his contract. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that, it wasn't, things just ain't how it used to be in Tinseltown for Justin Turner. He had a really good run, in my opinion. So it's going to be a shame to not see him wearing blue anymore. But he's going to go visit, I think so, his old teammate and new teammate, Mr. Yoshida, and his old teammate, dang it, I'm forgetting his name now. Gosh damn it. But yeah, there's been a few Dodgers have come and gone from LA to Boston, so he shouldn't feel alone out there. Another guy that's on the move is Trey Mancini, reportedly headed to Chicago with the Cubs on a 2-year deal. The deal is reportedly valued at $14 million overall, $7 million per year. Mancini named the American League Comeback Player of the Year in 2021 following a comeback from stage 3 colon cancer. Wow. Yeah, he's coming off a solid 2022 showing between the Orioles and the Astros. He belted 18 home runs with 63 RBIs, but struggled following the midseason trade to Houston. Mancini's best season came in 2019 when he had 35 home runs and an .899 OPS and a breakout showing for Baltimore. Over the course of his career, he has posted remarkably even splits against righties, going for .265, .330, and .456. And going up against the lefties, he's hit .266, .331, and .459. Going on, we got Adam Duvall reportedly signing a one-year deal with the Red Sox. Let's see, it's always the big teams that make the big deals. The deal is supposed to be for $7 million in hopes that he can replace some of the offense lost via the off-season departures, also of Xander Bogaerts and JD Martinez, as well as the now injured Trevor Story, who could miss the entire 2023 campaign in the season. Duvall was named an All-Star for the first and only time in 2016 when he hit .241 with 33 home runs and 103 RBIs. He followed it up with a .249 batting average, 31 home runs, and 99 RBIs following the season. Duvall was traded to the Atlanta Braves during 2018 and spent parts of 3 campaigns in Atlanta before signing a free agent deal with the Miami Marlins. So, with that, of course, there's always moves going on, and as I was trying to organize this, stuff was popping off on left and right. So, just going to take a quick gander at who else is or was on the move that I possibly could have missed. For the Mets, they signed for a one-year deal Mr. Tommy Pham. Also, let me see, on my recently searched up list, how you say it? He's famous. How the hell I don't know how to say his name? Aroldis Chapman is also agreeing to a one-year deal to go to the Kansas City Royals. So, a guy leaving New York, going to, I guess you could say, I would say a small market team was Kansas City. Yeah, in the early 2010s, they were pretty good and kind of fell off after that. So hopefully with his arm, he could, bring them back to where they were once before. Oh, look at that. There was a trade. The Marlins have reportedly acquired infielder Luis Arez from the Twins for right-handed pitcher Pablo Lopez, shortstop Jose Salas, and outfielder Byron Charillo. So, yeah, that happened. And let me see. Is there anybody else? Did we miss anybody? The Twins reportedly acquired outfielder Michael A. Taylor from the Royals for left-handed pitcher Evan Sisk and right-handed pitcher Steven Cruz. Let me see what I hear. The Red Sox are reportedly acquiring shortstop Adalberto Mondesi and a player to be named from the Royals for left-handed pitcher Josh Taylor. Look at that. What else we got here? Jesus Aguilar. He supposedly agreed to a deal with the Athletics. No details were given on that post. But yeah, that's everything so far to my knowledge. I'm excited to see what happens now with all these signings and moves. So it should be interesting. To my listeners, do you guys like baseball? Do you guys, the coverage on here could be a lot better, obviously, especially when it's not just me by myself. But tell me who your favorite player is, what team you guys like, who you don't like. I like to hear a lot from you guys. I want to interact more with my audience. So if you guys are able to, please let me know which signing or move player as well interests you the most for this upcoming MLB season. So yeah, moving on now, we're going to go to the warm-up so we start winding this show to an end. Yes. So for this week's warm-up, although I was tempted to put it in our main rotation of topics and not bore you with just pure information, but of course I have to mix things around a bit and, introduce some new things. However, we got some USA men's national team news. As always, every year, if you do not know, They do a January roster in which the World Cup just ended, so you could say this is the start of the 2026 road to, well, no road anywhere, they're hosting it, so they're just getting prepared now for the World Cup that will be coming in the next 3.5 years or so now. So yeah, they're going to do some, as of this recording, they do have some friendlies lined up. If you're hearing this after Wednesday, they've already had a game in which, by the way, I'll be going over the roster and who played and who is playing. Depending on when you listen to this recording, they have a game January 25th, 10 p.m. Eastern. I think it's a BMO Stadium against Serbia in Los Angeles, where they usually do have their games at around this time. They will be playing, when I say Serbia, you can catch that game on HBO Max, Universal, Peacock, and the Telemundo app. The second game that they have lined up is at Dignity Health Sports Park. They will be playing Colombia. That game is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You can catch that now on TNT. Yes, you heard me right, TNT. And then also on Telemundo, Peacock, and then the Telemundo app. Yeah, so for this January camp, I'm just going to say I expected to be a lot of new faces, and there are a lot of new faces here. They got 24 players called for this year's Southern California annual U.S. Men's National Team Camp. A total of 13 players are seeking their first full international cap, while 5 players lend veteran experience as they return to the USMNT's successful run at the 2022 World Cup. So I'm just going to go over who will be representing the U.S. in these friendlies. Starting off with the goalkeepers, we have, like I said, a lot of new names. Roman Celentano from FC Cincinnati, Sean Johnson, who currently just left New York City, and Gaga Solina, who was at Chicago Fire, now with Chelsea. Defenders, we got Jonathan Gomez from Real Sociedad, Julian Gressel from the Vancouver Whitecaps, which, by the way, he's part German. I was expecting when he was in Atlanta to get a call from the German national team, at least be on the bench, to be a depth player. Never happened, but he's getting a shot with the U.S. It kind of reminds me of when Dom Dwyer, committed to the U.S. after, he figured I'm not going to get called for England. So here we go. And yeah, even I saw in an article, Julian Gressel say he's excited. He just recently got his citizenship, so he's glad to be playing for any national team. I mean, especially here in the U.S., where he's been playing recently. Moving on, we have Daquan Jones from New England, from the New England Revolution. Aaron Long, who just recently signed with LAFC, moving from New York Red Bulls. For the LA Galaxy, we have Jalen Neal. Going to be interesting type of tandem there. This may be his first cap if he gets to set foot on the field. We got Sam Rogers from Rosenborg, John Tolick from New York Red Bulls, and Walker Zimmerman for Nashville. For midfielders, we have Paxton Harrison, who recently moved from Philadelphia to Eintracht Frankfurt, I think I said that's right, and the German League, Bundesliga. Kyle Acosta from LAFC, Aiden Morris from the Columbus Crew, Paxton Pomko, FC Dallas, and we got Alan Sonora. He's also unattached to a club at the moment. We got Eric Williamson from the Portland Timbers as well for the midfielders. And then for our forwards, we have no other than Paul Arriola for FC Dallas. He's returning to the USMNT after last appearing in a 0-0 draw against Saudi Arabia on September 27th, 2022, in Murcia, Spain. Should he appear in both matches, Arriola will become the 60th USMNT player to earn 50 career international appearances. Next up, we also got Cade Cowell. I've been lucky to see him play here and there for San Jose. So I know he's speedy, he's fast, he's good with the ball. Jesus Ferreira for FC Dallas. We got Matthew Hoppe, who's making a return to the national team as well, representing Middlesbrough. Emmanuel Sabi, Odense. I'm not too familiar with him. Brandon Vasquez from FC Cincinnati. And then we also have Alejandro Sendejas. I've heard he's pretty good, so I'm excited to see how he does. Apparently he comes from Club America. Just to give you guys some more info on these guys, 5 of the players from the USA's World Cup roster will be taking part. We got Kellen Acosta, Walker Zimmerman, Aaron Long, Jesus Ferreira, and Sean Johnson as well. 5 other players on the rosters, didn't go to the World Cup, will also be returning, and I know I mentioned them. Matthew Hoppe, Eric Williamson, Cade Cowell, Jonathan Gomez, and Paxton Pomkul. 11 of the 13 uncapped players are being summoned to their first USMNT camp. Got Salentano, defender Julian Gressel, Jalen Neal, Sam Rogers, John Tolkien, Paxton Harrison, his brother Brandon Harrison's pretty good as well, I've heard. Aiden Morris, Alan Sonora, forwards Emmanuel Sabi, Brandon Vasquez, and Alejandro Sentejas. So those are your new people, obviously. You might be wondering, well, there's a lot of new people. Where are the old faces? Well, with the match dates filing outside of the designated international calendar, all the clubs are not required to release their players for national team duty. The January camp, and I kind of already alluded to this earlier, typically consists of largely U.S.-based players who are not in season. So basically a lot of MLS guys. It's very rare that the big teams let their guys go out and play, friendlies during the season, especially during now since the World Cup just happened and a lot of the seasons just restarted. So, yeah, that was not going to happen. This is where you get a lot of players that might not always get the call, so it's cool to see them get a chance. Just to go into more detail on the actual games themselves that they will be playing. So once again, the match on January 25th at BMO Stadium, that just got recently renamed in Los Angeles. This would just be the 4th meeting all time between the U.S. and Serbia, with the U.S. posting a 0-2-1 record since the first meeting against the Yugoslavia at the 1956 Olympics in Sydney. The U.S. also dropped a tight 1-0 loss at the 1998 FIFA World Cup in France. The nations played a scoreless draw to kick off the USA's 2017 schedule on January 29th at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. RIP to that stadium. But yeah, so I think the U.S. should have a good team. I don't know much about the Serbians. Did they make the World Cup? I don't think they did. So, yeah, we should have an interesting matchup here to start off the new year for the U.S. Their second game, which will be the 28th at Dignity Health Sports Park on Saturday. They'll be facing a Colombia squad hungry to kick off their 2026 World Cup cycle after missing the tournament for the first time since 2010. The U.S. will look to earn its first victory against the South American squad since March 2005. A 3-0 win in Fullerton, California, which I'm just going to assume was at Cal State Fullerton, home of the Titans, back in the day when they had to go play at colleges. Man, what a time. What a hell of a time. One of the U.S. men's national team's most memorable World Cup victories came against Colombia and Southern California during the 1994 World Cup. A 2-1 win at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, featuring a goal from current U.S. Soccer sporting director Ernie Stewart. Yeah, I'm also looking for another good game from these guys. I don't think I'll just say this for the people listening who enjoy watching and listening to, who enjoy following the U.S. men's national team. These are not games to overreact to. We might not. I'm just gonna be honest. We might not see some of these guys ever again suit up for the red, white, and blue. We don't really have a head coach at the moment, so we're probably just testing the waters to see who's in shape, who's in form. Just in case. These are probably going to be. You could probably consider this a B, even I would say a C team, in my opinion, because we do have a lot of new people. It's a lot of young guys as well, which I think is the formula for the U.S. You had a lot of young guys go to the World Cup this past year. So, yeah, once again, don't overreact. Don't panic if we lose. Don't panic if, the results are 0-0, tight, close tie games. Because there's no point to getting all hyped up over a couple of friendlies. Of course, like I always say, don't go out there and look stupid. Don't look silly. Don't embarrass yourself. But yeah, I think the U.S. at the moment should be in good hands with the players that they got. So yes. That was the end of the rundown. Oh, wait, actually, hold on. Before we move on, I'll just say for the U.S., I hope they win these games. That's it. But yeah, moving on now in our program. And yes, we are going to start closing up shop, as yes, I'm by myself. Hopefully we could do this quickly as possible. We got the rundown. Thank you for sticking towards the end if you have. Thank you. In regards to MLS, we got the Leagues Cup. It's an official CONCACAF competition. They just released the groups. We got like East, Central, and like I think West, and I forgot what the other division was. But they're all groups of 3, I believe. It's a tournament between the MLS and Liga MX. It's a World Cup style tournament. Group stage followed by a knockout rounds, 4 regions: East, West, South, and Central. There we go. I know I wrote it down somewhere. 77 games hosted at MLS stadiums throughout the US and Canada. And yeah, each club will play a minimum of 2 matches in the group stage. The top 2 teams from each group will advance based on group points. Tiebreakers and full competition guidelines will be published in the coming months. So basically, to my knowledge, I think I already saw like how it's gonna work. There are no ties necessarily. So if there's a tie, both teams get a point, and then the winner gets 2 points after, I think it's overtime or a shootout, one of those 2. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. And after the group stage, there's it's a round of 32. He has 16 matches. Third place match, the winner of that will qualify for a chance at the CONCACAF Champions League, and the final on Saturday, August 19th. Both clubs qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League, and Leagues Cup winner skips directly to CONCACAF Champions League round 16. Let me see. There's 77 games. However, they had to admit 2 teams, so it was the best 2 teams. So Pachuca and LAFC, the respectful title winners, sit out into the knockout stage. Also, I forgot to mention this tournament starts in July and smack dab in the middle of the MLS season. That should be interesting. So yeah, that was the Leagues Cup, which will be this summer. Moving on, we just recently had the NWSL draft. I'll keep this short and sweet. It took place this past month, Thursday, January 12th, as a total of 48 players were selected to join the top level of professional women's soccer in the United States. I'll just say the number 1 coveted spot, which was traded for by Angel City FC, the U.S. women's national team prospect Alyssa Thompson, who recently made her debut with the U.S. senior team at the bright old age of 17, was selected with the number 1 overall pick by Angel City FC. Thompson, now 18 years old, made history as the first player to ever be picked in the NWSL draft directly out of high school. Thompson, a promising young forward from Studio City, California, attended a Harvard Westlake High School in her hometown and played club soccer for Total Football Academy, where she competed for both boys and girls team. So she ain't that bad. Speaking of the U.S. women's national team, they just wrapped up 2 friendlies to start the year off. They played in New Zealand. They played New Zealand both days. I think they played Tuesday, and then they played Friday. These were like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. games in my neck of the woods. So they kicked off the 2023 with 2 big wins. They scored 9 goals. In the first game, they scored 4 goals. And the second game, they scored 5 goals. Looking up info, they said, this game, although, they wanted to win, it wasn't necessarily about the win or the loss. It was about, keeping competition at a high level and, getting used to like that long travel because, let me see what I got here. Yeah, the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup will be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand and is scheduled to take place from July 20th to August 20th, 2023. It will also be the first FIFA Women's World Cup to have more than one host nation. So yeah, it's good that they're, getting the jitters out of the way now, because the past times I've seen the U.S. women's national team play, they've been struggling. So it's going to be an interesting World Cup. Also, I forgot to mention I think they're going to have 32 teams. So kind of similar to how the men's World Cup recently just went by. A lot of teams now are going to be playing in the World Cup for the women's game. Moving on, just really quick, in the USFL, some football news. The Pittsburgh Maulers are now yellow and black. They were like orange and blue before that, which was interesting because every damn team in Pittsburgh is yellow and black or black and yellow. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Pittsburgh Penguins, Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, all got the same color. I think that city just loves repping those colors. So, yeah, it was interesting news that they announced. Some NBA news in regards to the NBA draft. Very, very quickly in this round of voting, the Los Angeles Lakers forward LeBron James and Milwaukee Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo lead the Western Eastern conferences respectively, and the third fan returns of NBA All-Star voting. So that's a quick update in regards to the NBA draft. You can look it up on the NBA website for more info. Also, if you are looking for more NBA action this week, and why is my link not working? Okay, that's just great. Apparently it's rivalry week, so that's a new thing, I guess. I don't remember there ever being like a rivalry week in the NBA. If you want to find more information in regards to NBA rivalry week, as of this recording, they may have already played. Tuesday, January 24th, we had the Celtics against the Heat. Then we have the Clippers against the Lakers. Then Wednesday, January 25th, we have the Nets playing the 76ers. We got the Grizzlies against the Warriors. You catch those two games on ESPN. Thursday, January 26th, we got the Knicks against the Celtics and the Mavericks against the Suns. You can catch those on TNT. Friday, January 27th, we have the Grizzlies once again going up against the Timberwolves, and also the Toronto Raptors against the Golden State Warriors. You got those on NBA TV. Then to wrap up rivalry week, we have Saturday, January 28th, the Nuggets going up to the 76ers, the Knicks against the Nets, and then the Lakers versus the Celtics. All those games will be televised on your local ABC network. So yes, and some more hockey news. I'm not gonna go into detail because some of these guys' names, honestly, I cannot say. It's gonna be interesting. Their fan voting just wrapped up, in which for the Central Division for the Colorado Avalanche, representing the Colorado Avalanche, we got Mikko Rantanen, Nathan McKinnon, and then for the Winnipeg Jets, representing the Winnipeg Jets, we got Connor Helbike, I think. In the Pacific, we got Leon Jeffestel and Bo Havert and Stuart Skinner. We got two Oilers and a Vancouver Canuck in the middle. For the Atlantic Division, we got Austin Matthews for Toronto Maple Leafs. For the Boston Bruins, we got David Pastrnak. And then for the Tampa Bay Lightning, we got Andre Vasilevsky. In the Metropolitan, we got Artemany Panarin, Adam Fox, representing for the New York Rangers, and for the New Jersey Islanders, Ilya Sorokin. I think that's how you say it. I think, yes, the New Jersey Islanders, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry for my mispronunciation, but yeah, that's the way it goes. And to top it all off in today's rundown, some running news. Ben Spruce ran away with the huge Masters men's 8-kilometer win at the USA Track and Field Cross Country Championships. His 24:59.8 bested the field by more than 25 seconds. And April Lund won the Masters women's 6-kilometer title with a time of 22:02.7, more than 30 seconds faster than her nearest competitor. So shout out to you guys, my fellow runners. We did it. We finally got to the end. Thank you so much for listening to Rambling Runoff. If you're listening on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Like the video if you can. Also leave a comment. I love communicating with my listeners. On Spotify, if you can, like the recording, follow us, give us a good rating, whatever it is. Stitcher, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much. If you want to hear more from us, you can find us on Twitter at @Rambling Runoff. On Instagram, you can find us at Rambling Runoff. We also have TikTok, so make sure you go find us there, Rambling Runoff. Oh man, I'm glad that we were able to wrap this whole thing up. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I appreciate it. I've been your host, Robert Rios. See you guys next time. Peace out.